New videos every day.
Are you eating genetically modified foods? Which foods contain genetically modified ingredients, or GMOs? How do you know if a food is genetically modified or not? Which foods are natural, and which foods were genetically engineered by scientists in a laboratory? In this video, I'm going to answer these questions so that you know whether or not you are eating genetically modified foods. Now, I'm not going to discuss in this video whether or not genetically modified foods are dangerous. I'm aware that here in the United States, the industry claims that genetically modified foods are perfectly safe. However, I want to point out that genetic modification is a controversial issue worldwide, and genetically modified foods have actually been banned in several different countries. I also want to bring up the point that we have a right to know what it is we're putting into our bodies. All industrialized countries other than Canada and the United States legally require that a food is labeled if it contains genetically modified ingredients. So in China, Mexico, Japan, Italy, and Brazil, just to name a few, if a food contains genetically modified organisms, there will be labeling on the package. And in countries like Austria, Hungary, Greece, and Bulgaria, it's actually illegal to grow or sell genetically modified foods altogether. By survey, 92% of Americans think that GMO foods should be labeled. It's clear that people want to know what they're putting in their bodies. Nearly 1.4 million Americans have signed petitions requesting that the FDA require this GMO labeling. But the biotech industry, big agriculture, and big food manufacturers don't want you to know whether or not their foods contain genetically modified ingredients, because they're afraid it's going to hurt their sales. The FDA's refusal to require GMO labeling, despite what the majority of Americans really want, is, in my opinion, an example of the FDA just not doing its job. Per the FDA's own mission statement, they are supposed to protect the health of the people. But in this case, the FDA is clearly protecting the profit interests of big business over the will of the people that it was founded to serve and protect. A good government agency protects the population, not the profits of big business. A little later in the video, I'm going to give you a website where you can go to request that the FDA label GMO foods, and I would urge you to do so. But in the meantime, I want to point out one more thing, and then we'll move on to discussing how to know which foods are GMO and which foods aren't. Americans eat more GMO foods than any other country in the world several times over. And America also has the highest obesity rate. Now, there is a correlation between high consumption of GMO foods and obesity, but likely that correlation is due to a variety of different factors. One of the main reasons that genetically modified ingredients are linked to weight gain is because the majority of genetically modified ingredients are actually found in junk food. So that's the first way to know whether or not a food is genetically modified. Is it a junk food? In the video on the left, we discussed the average American diet and how much of which foods Americans are actually eating. It turns out that the largest contributors to our daily caloric intake are coming from genetically modified foods. And in the video below, Super versus Junk Foods, I discussed the difference between junk foods and superfoods, and while I don't specifically address genetic modification, all of the junk foods in that video are going to contain genetically modified ingredients, but all of these superfoods will be free of genetically modified ingredients. So you can check those videos out now and come back later, or you can find these links in the description and at the end of the video. So which foods are genetically modified? In the US, there are currently only 9 crops that are being genetically modified. That is corn, canola, soybean, cotton, sugar beets, alfalfa, Hawaiian papaya, zucchini, and yellow crookneck squash. So at this time, those are the only foods that you need to worry about, but you should recognize that many of these foods are used widely as ingredients in pretty much any processed, prepackaged, junk, or fast foods that you might encounter. Corn and corn-derived ingredients are used in more foods than any other crop in the world. So that's the high fructose corn syrup in your dressings, sauces, sodas, ice cream, and chewing gum. It's the corn flour in your corn chips or corn tortillas. And it's the corn oil that many foods are fried in. And corn is also used to make a whole host of chemical food additives, things like xanthan gum, modified cornstarch, dextrose, citric acid, and even monosodium glutamate, or MSG. The next GMO crop is soy. If you order tofu in most restaurants, or if you drink soy milk, it's likely that that's coming from GMO soybeans. But even if you don't eat tofu, it's likely that you have plenty of GMO soy in your diet. Soybean oil is used to cook and fry a whole host of different foods, and it can also be found in most salad dressings, mayonnaise, margarine, non-dairy coffee creamers, and if you flip over and read the labels of most processed and prepackaged foods, you're likely to see soybean oil. Canola and cottonseed are commonly used as cooking oils. Most of your deep-fried fast foods like French fries or fried chicken were likely fried in canola oil or some blend of oils that contains it. And this also includes your potato chips, corn chips, and really any chip at all. The most commonly used cooking oils are corn, soy, cottonseed, and canola, all of which are genetically modified. So any food that is cooked in these oils or that contains these oils, like margarine, salad dressings, sauces, mayonnaise, and non-dairy creams, are all going to be genetically modified foods. The only way to avoid these oils is to purchase organic foods or to buy the natural oils like coconut or olive oil and just prepare these foods yourself. Next, we have sugar beets, which are used to make table sugar. Your processed white table sugar, which is obviously a huge ingredient in any sweet food like candy, cakes, or sauces, is made from a combination of sugar beets and sugar cane. So if a food label says that that food contains sugar, it's likely genetically modified. The best way to avoid GMO sugar is to buy organic sugar or look for 100% pure cane sugar on the label. Now, after watching this video, you may be thinking, wow, Corrina, everything is genetically modified. And in fact, about 90% of store-bought prepackaged foods are genetically modified. If you're wondering what it is you can eat, then these two videos over here should be able to help you out. Understanding what foods you should be eating and how you can easily avoid genetically modified foods. GMO ingredients have made their way into almost all processed foods. And if the FDA ever does start requiring that GMO foods be labeled, then nearly every food in the center aisles of the grocery store, it will be labeled GMO. Your best bet is to shop on the outer aisles of the grocery store, your produce section and your deli section, buying these ingredients yourself and cooking them at home. You can also purchase organic foods, and you can find pre-packaged processed meals that are organic. And while that's not as good as cooking the foods yourself, you will be able to avoid genetically modified organisms when you purchase those organic foods. To send an email to the FDA requesting that they label genetically modified foods, visit the website justlabelit.org. The very name of the website gives you an idea of how utterly stupid it is that the FDA won't require this labeling. But I hope that you will take a moment to send a message to the FDA, and if you do, leave me a comment letting me know. But is there any evidence that GMO foods are even harmful? In a recent French study, it was found that mice on a GMO corn diet developed tumors and had a higher mortality rate. And consumption of cottonseed oil has been linked to sexual dysfunction and even infertility. More information coming up in a future video. What do you get when you combine sodium sterolactylate, azodicarbonamide, and ethoxylated monoglycerides? Well, if you add in about 20 other chemicals, you'll end up with the Big Mac bun. In a future video, we're going to tell you exactly what's in your Big Mac, so please be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you liked this video or enjoyed it, I hope you will give me a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Be sure to friend Psychetruth on Facebook and friend Corrina Rachel as well. I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thanks again. We discuss the primary, where the, is, in my opinion, of the despite what the canola and cottonseed are also used commonly as which are used to make your and which is that you find a lot of GMO and if you read the label of most processed and packaged poop most processed and packaged poo. Who put GMO soy in my poo? For 10 ridiculously simple guidelines to help you clean up your diet, lose weight, and avoid genetically modified ingredients, check out my video, The Easiest Diet Ever. On factory farms, they feed the animals grains to help fatten them up. Is it possible that they're fattening us up just like those farm animals? Check out our video, Are We Being Fattened Up? To find out exactly what makes a superfood super and a junk food junkie, check out my video, Super versus Junk Foods. To find out why America is becoming so obese and how much genetically modified foods we're actually eating, check out our video on the average American diet.